Welcome to Fashionable Trash Talk. I'm your host, Ashley Aliyah, where we discuss all things fashion. Don't forget to subscribe. Hey guys, today we're going to get into one of my favorite parts of the Ashley Aliyah Playbook, Beauty, Style, and Becoming, which is the Zodiac portion, where Zodiac, confidence, and style energy, tapping into your natural vibe. So here we have all the placements from the Zodiac. We're going to look at Venus signs, rising signs, and sun signs. And you can compare that on your own. Read this. Either you could buy the book, which is $25, or you can check out this chart. And what I'm going to do is go through each sign and use a celebrity that I think embodies that sign perfectly, so you guys can at least have a starting point on like your style and kind of get an idea of how to like bring these words to life. All right, for Capricorns, I did Lori Harvey. Capricorn, structured, powerful, and commanding. Capricorn placements build their confidence through discipline and quality. You value timeless beauty, elevated effort, and fashion that speaks before you do. When you look like the future CEO, you feel like one. I think Lori Harvey is the absolute perfect person for this, because I think her style has such a Capricorn range. I always call Capricorns dressed up plain Janes. She never does too much, and she always does just enough, and it's just always done in a very eloquent, ladylike way. And I think that is the perfect way to describe Capricorn fashion overall. For Aquarius, I chose Young Miami. Futuristic, rebellious, and original. Aquarius placements find confidence in standing apart, not fitting in. You shine when you follow your vision, not trends. Whether avant-garde or understated, your style works best when it challenges the norm. I think Young Miami is the perfect person to represent Aquarius when it comes to fashion, because I think sometimes Aquarius fashion can get a little chaotic and misunderstood, like very similar to Brandy, like Alicia Keys, Kerry Washington, who are all Aquarius women, but sometimes their fashion can really truly miss the mark, where I think Young Miami has a great understanding of what her style is, what she tries to give across, and is executed perfectly. And I don't think it's something that a lot of Aquarius women can do, but when they do it and they kind of truly have an understanding of who they are and how they show up for fashion, it just comes together beautifully. So that's why I think she is the perfect representation for Aquarius women. For Pisces, of course, I had to choose Rihanna. Pisces, dreamy, creative, and intuitive. Pisces placements feel confident when their beauty reflects emotion and artistry. You feel most powerful when your look tells a story, blurs lines, and taps into your soulful softness. Your vibe is the aesthetic. Now, we all know that Rihanna is the ultimate fashion rule breaker and brings dreams to life when it comes to fashion. We haven't quite seen a lot of women in fashion who show up the way that she has over the years, and we have constantly seen the evolution in her fashion and style. And I think she's the perfect representation for Pisces women, because I think that they truly understand what fashion is supposed to be about, and like they put their heart, their soul, and everything into it, and they kind of earn their spot in fashion versus just holding up space in the room. Victoria Beckham for Aries. Aries, bold, brave, and assertive. Aries placements thrive when they lean into fearless self-expression. Confidence for Aries comes from standing out, taking risks, and leading with energy. You don't follow trends, you make them. Your style should always feel powerful and decisive. I think Victoria Beckham is the perfect person for Aries, and I think she is so underrated and never discussed enough for just how she channels and embodies the fashion forward but sexiness that comes from Aries placements, also with the touch of luxury. I think that Aries placements also have a great understanding of fashion, but they do it in such a upscale way. And I think the entire, like, that old money type of aesthetic that's like trending online was made for Aries women. And I don't think it's really a trend that a lot of women can do successfully. I think that's why we see a lot of them kind of blundering it. But I think Aries women have the range, the style, and understanding. I mean, like, I think Aries women are like the epitome of divas. Look at the Aretha Franklins, Lady Gaga, Mariah Carey. It's just so many of them that embody just that luxe type of style and fashion. So that's why I think Victoria Beckham was the perfect person to represent them. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that one of our ultimate fashion girls that we love, Sarah Jessica Parker, is also an Aries. Linda Evangelista for Taurus. Taurus, grounded and sensual. Taurus placements shine when they feel comfortable, luxurious, and deeply connected to their senses. Your confidence grows when you indulge in rich textures, quality pieces, and beauty rituals that make you feel anchored and adored. I love Linda Evangelista. She is my favorite supermodel of all time. And honestly, for Taurus, it was very hard to choose between Linda and Kamara Lee Simmons. But because I did a video on Kamara already, I'm giving Linda her time to shine. She is a fashion powerhouse. And similar to Young Miami for Aquarius, I think Linda is the perfect representation for Taurus women, because I think a lot of Taurus women strive to have the fashion range that Linda has, but sometimes miss the mark and it comes across as just chaotic. Like sometimes Taurus women can look like they picked every expensive and special piece out their closet and put it onto one outfit. But I think that similar to Kamara Lee Simmons, I think Linda Evangelista has a firm understanding of how she wants to show up in fashion. She was a runway model, for God's sake. And not only did she have amazing style on the runway, her streetwear looks were just as fashionable because she understood who she was and she understood where she landed in the lane of luxury. And she did not try to really do things that people were doing. Like, it was, she set the trends and the pace of fashion, and she didn't just focus on clothing. She had in the hair, the nails, the makeup, the style, the swag overall. And I think it's just the magic that can happen when Tauruses truly lean into knowing themselves. I think they show up really well in fashion when they kind of let go of the idea that they have to keep up with what everybody else is doing and realize that they were brought here to kind of lead the pack. For Gemini, I chose Naomi Campbell. Gemini, playful, expressive, and unpredictable. Gemini placements feel confident when their style is fun, changeable, and true to their mood of the moment. You thrive when you're not confined to one aesthetic. Versatility is your signature. I picked Naomi Campbell because with Gemini placements, sometimes it can get a little tricky. I think they have the capacity to be very fashion forward, like Naomi Campbell, but sometimes because they want to be so unpredictable, it can fall flat and can kind of be all over the place and can kind of borderline get corny because they're doing too much. But when you have an understanding of style like Naomi Campbell does, if you look at her style, Gemini women thrive when they focus on pieces. Like when they pick a fashion forward shirt, a skirt, or dress, and they allow the piece to do the work, and they go a little bit more simple or fashion forward with their hair or their makeup. That's when their looks come together flawlessly. And like I said, sometimes you see it come together really well in Gemini women, or sometimes it comes across not so fashion forward, and you can see that some of them may think they're fashionable, but it can, like I said, come across like a little corny. But Naomi Campbell, I think, is the perfect example of when Gemini women get it right, because she just always looks good, fashion forward, on trend, and just like she has walked fresh off a runway. Now to my sign, Cancers. Happy birthday to all my Cancers out here. I had to pick my girl, Lil' Kim, who is the ultimate Cancer woman. Cancer, soft, intuitive, and deeply emotional. Cancer placements radiate confidence, when their look matches their emotional world. You dress to fill, not to be seen, and that in itself makes you stand out. You shine most when you're nurturing your beauty from the inside out. I love me some Little Kim. She is the fashion girl. I feel like she was like the fashion impact of Rihanna before there was a Rihanna. Of course, their styles are extremely different, but I'm just saying how influential Rihanna is to this generation now. That's the same type of influence that Little Kim had and has. I think Little Kim represents Cancer women who get it right, because again, like other signs, there's a good side and a bad side, and I'm not going to not talk about the bad side just because I'm a Cancer too. But sometimes Cancers can also get very corny, or just like sometimes a little cringy, where it's like they can try too hard and it just be like, girl, this is uncomfortable, what are you wearing? Or sometimes again, they get it extremely right. I think Cancers thrive within creativity. If you look at Solange, Missy Elliott, I feel like those are Cancers whose style, although it's very different. If you look at Kim's style, Missy's style, Solange's style, it's all very different. Lindsay Lohan, who's also a Cancer, all very different styles, but they are still so fashion forward because they lean into their creativity. They lean into their femininity in their own way. And the styles and looks just come together. And like with Kim, Kim was just so before her time because she loved to take risks. And you can tell that so much of her fashion was connected to who she was, her mood, her feelings, and things like that. And it was just executed so well, so much so that it influenced generations to come. And I think, Cancers are just one of the best signs when it comes to fashion. I'm a little biased because you know me, but I mean, we've seen Diane Carroll's style. But no, in all seriousness though, I think Cancers have a really great capacity to be influential in fashion when they lean into their feelings, who they truly are, and their creativity. For Leos, I chose Khalees. Leo, dramatic, magnetic, and expressive. Leo placements are born to be seen. Confidence lives in boldness, performance, and glamour, but also authenticity. You shine when you're admired, but you glow when your look is aligned with who you truly are. I thought Khalees was the perfect person for Leo. One, I have a Leo stellium in my chart, not my big three, but somewhere in there. So I have a soft spot for Leo placements. But I think that Khalees is perfect for Leos because I think that Leos desire to be the center of attention a lot, but a lot of them don't go about it the right way. Some of them try to use fashion as a means to grasp the spotlight, but sometimes it can fall flat because it is too designer-esque type of focus and too trendy focus and not enough creativity put into it. So I think Khalees is perfect because Khalees is such a star without even trying. If there was no Khalees, there would be no Rihanna, because her Bossy video is literally the blueprint for Rihanna's entire fashion rollout. She's innovative, just a game changer. The creativity, again, is just unmatched. The way we've seen her hair, when it was big and curly, the shortcuts, the fashion we've seen has been like no other. And I think that a lot of Leos have the capability to execute fashion in that way if they will lean more into their power naturally. The natural attention that a Leo will grasp. It's no way that a Leo is not going to get attention. But I think Khalees is what happens when Leos don't try as hard. Even like Jennifer Lopez, who's also a Leo, who has amazing style. Halle Berry, another Leo with great style, especially throughout the 90s. Not so much now, but the 90s, she held it down a lot. You see great looks coming from them, and it's always so natural and magnetic. And I think, and if you look at all three women, Khalees, revolutionary, groundbreaking, a tastemaker, J-Lo, amongst Hispanic women. Despite whatever stuff they try to say online now, is also tastemaker, groundbreaking, styles, phenomenal, impeccable. And if you look at Halle Berry, we know the strides and things that the barriers she broke through for Black women in the industry and how versatile she is. So I think Khalees was the perfect person to choose to represent for Leo women. For Virgo, I chose Blake Lively. Virgo, intentional, refined, and thoughtful. Virgo placements thrive in structure and subtlety. Your confidence comes from precision, clean lines, and curated details. You feel best when your beauty and style reflect clarity and care, even if no one else notices. And I know the girls probably thought I was going to choose Beyonce, but no. Virgo supreme for fashion amongst this era is Blake Lively. The girl style is off the chain. The Blake Lively hate train is a train that I would never buy a ticket for. I think she embodies Virgo style to the T. Just how it's just always so innovative, so creative, so fashion forward, so structured, so put together. Before the trend, I can't even say on trend. I just want to say before the trend, ahead of the curve. And it's just always the embodiment of womanhood and femininity. I think it's very similar to the femininity that you see in Capricorn placements when they dress and put outfits together, but just on 1,000. I think Virgo women are some of the best dressed women on this planet. I think sometimes they can get a little too underwhelming and kind of a little bit all over the place, depending on where they're from. Again, I know the girls thought I was going to say Beyonce, but I don't actually think that Beyonce is that fashion forward to be a Virgo. But I think that's her other placements contribute to that. Now, and I think this era, I think we have seen some of the best fashion we've seen from her through the entirety of her career. But as far as Virgo placements and stuff go, I think Blake Lively, I had to throw them in there. Michael Jackson is one of the most fashionable Virgos that ever touched this planet. I just think when it comes to fashion, they are just so ahead of their time. And I think Nas is a Virgo. I think that goes for the men and women alike. For Libra, I chose Cardi B. Elegant, harmonious, and aesthetically gifted. Libra placements are ruled by Venus, so confidence and beauty are your birthrights. You're most powerful when your inner world feels balanced and your outer world reflects the symmetry. I chose Cardi B because I think that she is very fashion forward in ways that most Libra women believe that they are, but they aren't. I think that Libras struggle with kind of pinning down a signature look. So sometimes their fashion can look a little too too trendy, too gimmicky, if you will. It's well, damn, every little trend that come out, you trying to hop on that wave, and it just gets a little chaotic. Where I think that Cardi and her stylist does an amazing job at honing in on a look for her. And based off the look and direction they're trying to go in, they outfit that direction very well. And it just comes off as this seamless, fresh off the runway, fashion forward, what's hot, what's next type of style. And I think Cardi B is truly a tastemaker. And after Rihanna, we were able to get refreshed with Cardi B as far as the women amongst hip hop and R&B, because we didn't have a lot of girls who were actually putting in effort to the same capacity or making headlines the same way she was. And I think she represents Libras very well for when they have an understanding of themselves and they get out of that people-pleasing energy of I'm doing this because everybody's doing this or doing that. And when they kind of realize what their identity is and what lane they can go in, I think the style morphs into a style that is very similar to a Cardi B or a Toni Braxton. For Scorpios, I chose Tracee Ellis Ross. Scorpio, intense, mysterious, and private. Scorpio placements feel most confident when they're fully in control of their look. You don't need validation, you need depth. When your beauty feels intimate, powerful, and magnetic, you're unstoppable. I chose Tracee Ellis Ross because I think she is one of the most fashionable Scorpios. I personally think that Scorpios try too hard to get recognition in fashion, and it often comes across as tacky. If you ever watch my stuff, I always talk about how they have a love of sequins and neon colors because how can I put this? The attention that a Leo will naturally get, a Scorpio desires, but does not get in the same way that a Leo would. And that's why I think it's so important for the fact when I said that they don't need validation. When a Scorpio doesn't need validation and they truly lean into who they are, you get a Tracee Ellis Ross. Tracee Ellis Ross has amazing taste, amazing style, and what she does is very rare for amongst Scorpio women. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think when a Scorpio woman is fashionable, she looks like a Tracee Ellis Ross because she understands who she is and what works for her and what doesn't, and she's not experimenting and trying a bunch of different crazy things. If you look at Tracee's style, she often plays with structure a lot, structure and fashion forward pieces, or she plays with color, but you don't ever really see her really over accessorize. You don't see her in a bunch of different fabrics and prints at one time. You don't see her in 11 different colors. You don't see her trying to do every trend that just came out. You really see her focusing and honing in on things that work for her. Her signature hair, her very signature basic makeup look. If we get a pop, it's usually a red lip that looks amazing on her for her skin tone and her style. Often goes for the same silhouettes that kind of work on her body. Statement colors are always colors that look great on her and complement her. Honestly, a lot of her, I think Scorpio men are very fashionable. The women not so much, but I was going to say that I think her style actually is very similar to that of a Scorpio man. But I think when Scorpio women get it right, it looks like Tracee Ellis Ross. I think a lot of them do have the potential, but they seek the validation too much. But if they kind of just focus in on who they are and what works for them and just let the attention come to them naturally versus seeking it, I think they will land on a style like Tracee Ellis Ross. Or Nia Long, who also is a Scorpio and has a similar style, just not as trendy and colorful. For Sagittarius, I chose Janelle Monáe. Free-spirited, adventurous, and unfiltered. Sagittarius placements thrive when their style is unrestrained and global. You feel confident when you're not confined, whether it's through vibrant colors, bold statements, or just saying no to conformity. I think Janelle Monáe was the perfect person to represent Sagittarius because I think so many Sagittarius women strive to have this level of fashion, and it just completely falls flat and be looking crazy. And I think the perfect examples of this is Nicki Minaj, very early on style. Like prior to her dating Meek Mill, style was just like, what the hell is going on? I think we see it now in JT's style of just like how it's very much all over the place. Early on in Tiana Teller's career, very just like before she found like a direction to go into, another person that was just very much, it was just too much. And I think that Janelle Monáe just successfully executes what every Sagittarius woman strives for. Her style is unrestricted. It's creative. You don't see anyone else doing it. It's very hard to imitate, duplicate, mimic. It is femininity done in such a wave of masculinity, if you will. And it's so good. It's innovative. It's just so good. Just avant-garde, if you will. And it's like, you know what to expect from her, but she still has the capacity to surprise you. And again, I think this is something that a lot of Sagittarius women strive for, but just aren't equipped to execute just because they can't get their minds focused enough to go in this direction. And I also think it's also a matter of pride with Sagittarius women. I think what makes Janelle style great is that she is comfortable with understanding if I made a misstep and I need to go this direction, or if I need to switch to this, or if I need to do that. I think a lot of Sag women, particularly because I think the men are very well dressed, but the women will double down on very horrible fashion looks, very horrible hair looks, and very horrible makeup looks, and they are not very receptive to feedback. So they will wear a look, a style that is just not suited for them for years, in the quest of saying, oh, I'm different. Look, I'm not like this person. I'm like this. And it's just like, no, baby, that doesn't work. You need to go back to the drawing board and try something else. But again, I think Janelle Monáe is just a perfect representation of when Sagittarius women get it right and they excel in fashion, because again, her style is not something like we see from others, and people cannot just wake up one day and just try to dress like Janelle Monáe. It's a lot of preparation, tools, equipment, resources, all of that will have to go in to try to duplicate her look. Okay, guys, that concludes this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you guys go buy the Ashley Aliyah Playbook, Beauty, Style, and Becoming. It is only $25. I will have the link in the bio. You can visit www.sincerelyashleyb.com. Follow me on LTK to shop all of my style boards. Make sure you follow me on social media, Instagram and TikTok at Ashley2_Aliyah. And you also can shop my Shop My account as well. To book me for styling services, you can visit my website, www.ashleyaliyah.com. To shop my boutique, you can visit www.richbitchcollection.com. If you are in Philadelphia, Delaware, the counties around Philadelphia, or New Jersey area, you can book me for makeup services at www.sincerelyashleyb.com, and you also can shop my cosmetic line. Thank you for watching my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my playlist to binge watch my videos.